Hey, I'm Pat.
I'm Alexa.
And that is Noetta, or Nordhavn 57, number 28.
And today we're going to give you a tour through her, throughout her, all around the outside. And so come along, let's show it to you. Welcome aboard. We are Pat, Alexa, and the never useful Gilligan the Fat Boat Cat. We live aboard our 57-foot Nordhavn Noeta, currently located near Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Over the past 8 years, we have lived aboard and upgraded a 46-foot Nordhavn, a 50-foot Nordhavn, and now a 57-foot Nordhavn. And this one should be our last one. We love her. So today we thought we'd show you why we think she's the perfect boat for us by giving you the full tour.
So here's Noetta 57. Obviously, it's a 57-foot Nordhavn. The beam is 17 feet 6 inches, and she draws 6 feet, and maybe a little more depending on how heavy we are. And it's about 25 feet tall.
All right. So let's go check her out.
Over here. Welcome to the aft cockpit. It's a nice and large space. It's got a nice overhang, so if there's weather or you need to get out of the sun, it's a nice shade. Nice handrails here and here. Got it set up. We could do some fishing. The only piece of teak on the boat, which is too much in my opinion, but here it is. There's the shower, freshwater shower, so when we come out of the salt water, we can rinse off. Built-in barbecue, which is very nice. More storage. There is a, I don't know, whatever you call it.
A winch?
Winch, yes. So if you do have a stern line or something, you can tighten that up. More storage. I don't call them in the hips. Propane locker. We have our security cameras. There's rod holder. We just have a boat hook for snagging stuff. There's a stern station for steering. Stern thruster. You can drop the anchor from here, throttle. It's got a nice sink and a lazarette. Lots of storage, but we're not going to open that because
it's a mess.
It's a mess.
Okay, let's take you inside. Hey guys, welcome to our boat. Okay, I feel a little bit like Mr. Rogers doing that. But anyway, again, this is Noetta. We are a 57-foot Nordhavn. And this week, we'll have owned her for 1 year. So really excited to do this tour for you guys. She was built in 2002. And her previous owners had named it Ice Dancer 2. And Ice Dancer 2 did amazing things. Spent 20 years going down the west coast of the U.S., Mexico, Central America, South America, and then around Cape Horn 2 times. Back up through French Polynesia, over to New Zealand, Alaska, back up to Hawaii, back over to Alaska. So this boat, when we bought it, they had put 12,000 hours on the engine. Not to worry, because it's got a great engine. It's made to do that. And 100,000 miles. So our goal is to get her all fixed up so she can do that again. We're currently in Mexico, where we'll be for the next couple of years while we do a lot of those projects. And then hopefully cast off from Mexico to go take her back into the big blue ocean. Anyway, Nordhavn, when they made the 57, you could order it either with a walk around on both sides on the outside. Okay, now I look like a flight attendant, sorry. But the walk-arounds could be symmetrical or the asymmetrical version, which is what this is. And with the asymmetrical version, what we have is we don't have a walk-around over on the port side from about mid-boat aft. And so it's not been a problem, and we really like that because it gives a lot more space here in the salon. So it's got a 17.5-foot beam. And I'm guessing we have at least 15 of those feet here inside. So it's a nice size, definitely for 2 people, but when lots of people are on board, there's room for everybody. Let's see, features about this boat. When we bought it, we did have Yacht Tech do new headliners in Anacortes, and they're beautiful. Just did the upholstery last week. For those of you guys who've been following along, you know how excited I am about that. We put in new lines. Literally, these are just from Lowe's. We did the custom order and put those in, and it was a really nice upgrade to have those. Lots of storage throughout, behind all of these cushions and underneath all of the benches. We have storage, except under that bench on the port side where the air conditioning handler is. Let's see, what else? We have a freezer over here, and it even has some Bergie bits left over from Alaska, so we'll use those for our cocktails this week when we celebrate our 1-year anniversary of owning this boat. This is kind of fun. This is our hidden television. It's kind of like magic. Anyway, it comes up to about here. There is a hook for it if we need it. So far, we haven't needed it. If the water conditions are that bad, then we probably wouldn't have the TV up anyway. But we really like that that stows away. And that it's really big. We just turn these chairs right here around and we just have movie night. So that's kind of fun. Anything else about the salon? Oh, our favorite clock. Let me show you what our, I know it's weird. Do you have a favorite clock? Let me show you why it's our favorite. So over here in the corner is our very piece of anything we bought for a Liveaboard boat. And it's our day of the week clock. So, because we often do forget what day of the week it is, and there is a notch at noon, just in case you need to know when it's, I don't know, time to have a cocktail. Anyway, there's our freezer. I'll give you the full view here. All right, so in the galley, my very favorite thing that might seem kind of weird is a door. The door needs new wheels. It's got a lump in it. The wheel is flat in one spot. So you can hear that. But a couple of reasons that's a favorite thing. One is we've never, on our previous boat, did not have access on the port side down here. And so you can leave here and then there's a door to get onto the dock right there. So just access on and off the boat. If we do dock port side, we can come in this door or the aft cockpit. Also airflow. We get both of these doors open because there's one on each side. There's one over here too. This door goes down to the engine room, but then there's also a door that goes out. So we get a lot of nice crosswind through here. This is a really well-stocked kitchen. Galley, but it feels like a kitchen because it has a household size sub-zero fridge and freezer. Probably our biggest power hog is that thing. This is a convection microwave, so I actually can bake in here. I've been told that my best Thanksgiving turkey was actually made in that, even though I have this excellent Thor stove and oven, which is huge and beautiful, and it's been installed in the last few years, I think. Sometimes this just is easier and makes the boat less hot. So honestly, right now, this is holding wine and mezcal. But you do what you can on a boat. Custom made, a friend made a cutting board for here, so I have a little more counter space. I didn't want to give up my air fryer. So really, we're not hurting for much in this galley. It has a dishwasher, and truth be told, in all of our boats, we've never had a dishwasher, and I told Pat, well, we're taking that dishwasher out because it's a waste of water and a waste of power, and I've washed the dishes on the boat for, I don't know, 7 years, and said, well, just leave it in for a little bit, and I'm like, but I want the storage, and said, well, just leave it and try it, and I'm just going to go ahead and say on camera, he's right. I do want it. Now that I have it, it's kind of handy. He swears I'm saving water because I'm not doing dishes so often, and it regulates the amount of water. I don't know if that's true, but I like to think that it is. So dishwasher's been nice. We have a trash compactor, which is great, especially when you're out for weeks on end and you need to just keep it all in there. Again, plenty of storage. This boat was not made for short people. Pat and I are both pretty tall, and there's storage way up here and way up there. Sometimes even I need a stool to get into things. So this boat is definitely a tall person boat. These ceilings, gosh, I'm 5'9", so these ceilings are every bit of 7.5, 8 feet, I think. They're in here. They're huge. Garbage disposal, big sink. What else is in here? I don't know. Oh, there's a nice handy spice rack right here against the wall that holds knives and spices. It's a little thing, I know, but on a boat, just easy access to things is really handy. Over here, we do have more pantry storage space, followed by some drawers. They just make for a lot of really good storage. We've never had this much storage in a boat. I do keep talking about storage, sorry, because it's a huge thing on a Nordhavn. We had a 46 Nordhavn and the 50, and somehow all of our stuff fit on both of those boats. Lots of cubby holes under stairs and in behind cushions, and just everywhere you can think of there's storage. So that's really handy. If you haven't met him yet, that's Gilligan, our fat boat cat. I'm even surprised he's up here because it's afternoon and it's nap time, and he's usually napping in the bathroom. So he has graced us with his presence. So the layout for this boat, each 57 Nordhavn is just a little bit different from this point on. Over here, some people don't have this pantry. Some people have a washer and dryer behind here. Some Nordhavns have a day head in back behind here. I like this setup with the pantry because our washer and dryer is down in our master stateroom. But again, I'm biased. It's our boat, so I love it. And through this doorway takes us down to the engine room.
All right, hey, we're going to go do a tour of the engine room. One of the cool things about the 57 is it has this door, which is on a latch. So we can close this, and it isolates the engine room access from the rest of the living space on the boat. And also one of the cool things, if it's hot out, like it is down here, we can close this door and we can open that boarding door, and it helps cool off the engine room. It just allows the hot air, another venue for it to get out of the engine room. So come on. So one of the unique things, I think, maybe one of the unique things about our boat is this is the master electrical panel. It has pretty much the main electrical system on the boat. So we've got two 120 legs. We have two inverters that we can, it's called stacking them, so they can combine and make 240 volts. And from there we have our air conditioning, there's ship service, which is just, we select like shore power or generators, or we're just running without either one of them. And then the inverters would provide us the 120 and the 240. And then down here is all the 12 volt stuff. There's a little sub panel up in the pilot house that we'll look at in a little bit. Usually it's up in the pilot house on the boats that we've seen. I think they did this on perhaps later boats. It's kind of nice. It's down here, it's out of the way, and where it is on other boats, it's a bookshelf. So it makes it a much nicer, more usable space. So here we go. Hello, welcome to the engine room. One of the things that I love about the 57 is just it's almost stand up for me. You know, if I stand up, my head hits it, but if I kind of spread my legs a little bit, I have plenty of space. The main engine, this is a John Deere 12.5 liter. It's a 340 horse engine. This engine has 12,900 hours. Absolutely zero concern about hours on these engines that they put in the Nordhavns. This is a continuous duty, commercial grade. When John Deere designed this engine, it was designed as their million-mile engine for trucks, boats, whatever. It doesn't burn any oil. When we start it, I've yet to see soot coming out of the exhaust, which in a dry stack exhaust is one of the potential problems, is you can get a little soot coming out. We haven't run into that yet. I suppose it could happen at some point. Here's the electronic brain for our main engine. This is the fuel filters. These are the ray cores for the main. We have a huge transfer pump. Here's our battery switches so we can parallel engines and generators, and we can get them started. One of the unique things about the 57 is the sight tubes for the fuel. There's this main tank, the starboard engine room main tank, and then right behind Alexa, we can see both the forward tanks. And one of the things we do is we run everything out of this tank. So we'll transfer out of the other 3 tanks into this tank, and we do it through the transfer array core. We run it in a 2-micron filter. This is probably more technical than we want, but that way we always know we have super clean fuel going into that tank that then everything else runs out of. Fuel capacity, we hold about 2,000 gallons, maybe a little more. The sight tubes only go up so far into the tank, and then there's actually quite a bit more capacity above that. You know, if we were going to do a long passage, we would fill it until the fuel was probably just starting to come out of the vents. Fortunately, on this boat, all the fuel vents for the tanks are inside. They're not outside, so we wouldn't be spitting any fuel overboard, which is actually really nice. Stabilizers, we have ABT stabilizers. Here's one, super easy access, as you can see, and the starboard stabilizer is actually underneath those stairs, so that would come up and we'd have access to those. From here, one of the other things I really like, got a work table with a sink that we actually, in another video you saw, we actually replaced the faucet. Oh, water pump's coming on. This is the fuel manifold. It can be a little intimidating at first, but it's actually fairly simple. The supply, so this is every engine, generator, anything. This is the fuel goes through this manifold. In a diesel engine, quite a bit of fuel gets returned. So you got to have a return manifold. So you designate, like in this case, we want the fuel going back to the forward port fuel tank. And then these are also the engines that are running. And this would be the transfer tank manifold that we could select any tank and move the fuel anywhere we want. We could balance fuel, move fuel. You can set it up so you do what's called polishing, where it just basically goes in a loop and it goes through that filter and it cleans any debris, any gunk out of the fuel. Vice, which is actually very lovely. And then back here, so on our boat, we have 2 generators. They're Onan generators, which is Cummins. We have a 17 kW generator and a 21.5 kW generator. They work very well. If I were building a boat, I would have Northern Lights, Lugger Northern Light generators in here, but I didn't get that choice. This is the wing. It's a John Deere wing. It's a 4048. This is, they call it a get home. So it's got a separate transmission. It's separate shaft and prop. It also has a PTO on the front it's an additional hydraulic system to drive the hydraulics on our boat. We have bow stern thrusters, stabilizers, the anchor windlass. Anyway, this augments the main, or the main augments this. They can run, either one can pressurize the hydraulic system. And this back corner over here, it's not quite stand up back here. In that corner we have the hydraulic reservoir, the hydraulic heat exchanger, and then back here is a bunch of the hydraulic systems and valves. And then down in here we have a oil change system. So it's easy to drain the oil and change it out of the transmission, the engine, the generators, the main transmission. It's a nice little, almost luxury. Second boat I've ever had one with it, so it's pretty cool. So one of the unique things on this boat, I think the 57, 62, and I think some of the later bigger boats that Nordhavn made, we have a sea chest in this one. It's just a central spot for all the seawater to come in, and then it's a distribution manifold to the wing, the generators, the water maker. I don't know what else. I'd have to think about it, but that's pretty much it. Air conditioning. And then our water maker is over here. As you guys saw in a previous video, here it is. Membranes, the water maker boost pump, which is actually the previous owner put in. It's just a well pump, which works really well. The water maker boost pumps, I don't know why, but these guys, they tend to make them kind of cheap and they don't work well. That thing's designed to move a lot of water and not burn a lot of power. So that's a nice setup. Fireboy, fire suppression system, which we all know about that. Hopefully that never fires. And then we put in engine room cameras. When was that? This fall? So we've got one shooting this way, see the engine, and then one over Alexa's shoulder. It just shoots down the entire engine room. So when we're running, we can bring that up and just give a quick glance. They're not meant to take the place of an engine room check, but it's just nice to be able to take a glance and see what's going on. Okay, so this opens up, and this was a surprise when we bought the boat, actually, for us. There's a whole bunch of names and sayings that the builders wrote on this. And so if anybody out there can translate Chinese, or I guess Taiwanese Chinese, I'm not sure.
That's why we need help.
That's why we need help. But yeah, pretty cool. So that concludes the engine room. If you guys have any questions, anything like that, reach out in the comments and let us know. All right, now the fun stuff. The pilot house, where we actually put a lot of money into it. The only thing we kept from the original owner was the sonar. It's that giant tube down in the bulb. You'll see that later in a video. It's a forward-looking sonar. Actually, it's 360. It can go up and down. It can go lateral. Right now, I've got it just almost straight out, and you're seeing the keel of the sailboat and that boat in front of us right now. We can change it to a 360 aspect, and it'll show everything around us. It's designed for fishing boats. The previous owner had it on here, and he used it quite a bit in Chile when they were down there, because he said the charts were actually pretty bad, and there was quite a few times that the sonar actually saved him from running into stuff. Then we put in new Furuno. This is a 16 XL chart plotter. It's their newest one. Got two of them. This is a PC driven Time Zero Professional. And this talks to the Furuno displays, and there's actually an iPad app as well. So it's pretty cool. When I want to build a route, I just do it on the iPad. And then when this is on, or it's actually in real time, it'll appear on all four devices, the one in the Flybridge as well. We put in new VHF radios. We have a Garmin chart plotter as a separate system, and this Garmin and this autopilot are on their own backbone. So it's a redundancy. We got a second autopilot that'll just work by itself. This is the main autopilot, and this talks to the Furuno system. And we have a follow-up lever as well, which directly controls the rudder. Balanced stern thruster. This boat has the Mathers micro commander, so these are electronic throttles. Main engine, and this is for the wing. The stations on the wing stations and the Flybridge just have the one station, or the one throttle for the main. This is the only one with a dedicated wing throttle. Put in Furuno. This is like basically a nice weather station. It shows us a lot of different information. Then water, high water, bilge alarms, water amount, the ever popular Fireboy, till it's green right now. So nice stids. They kind of cut down on the space a little bit, but we really like the dual stids, because it's nice if we're both in here operating. And then of course, our fantastic new upholstery that we did. If you remember in the upholstery video, that's where the previous owner had sat for roughly 100,000 miles and it was completely worn through. So now there it is. Bookshelves, extra storage. There's map case underneath here. There's a giant case here. That's pretty cool. The previous owner, he had saved everything, every receipt that he'd ever done on the boat. And then we've had 3 Nordhavns. We've been very fortunate. And our middle kid, August, is a graphic digital artist. And you can see Noetta, the 46. That was the first one. Then the second one was the 50. And then this current boat, 5728. And then, let's see, Alexa and Red Rover won the Nordhavn Film Festival. We won the best comedy and then best film overall, and that's our trophy. Yay! And then if you remember on going down to the engine room, this is where we have a bookshelf, and this is where that big electrical panel usually lived on these things. But we have a bookshelf. You know, there's a saying, you've seen one Nordhavn, you've seen one Nordhavn, and that's a clear example of that. So one of the really cool things about this boat, this Nordhavn, that you don't necessarily get on other Nordhavns is we have a Flybridge access from inside the pilot house. It's a nice door. It's really heavy, beefy. Just whoop, right up and out under the Flybridge. Not very common. Like if you look at the 55s, you have to go outside to get to the Flybridge. So that's nice. Hot day, we can open that up, get a little more ventilation in here. This is the hydraulic. This is the master pump selection. So the wing, the main. We have a anchor washdown. It's out off the bow, and it's a huge nozzle. And then the windlass. Oh, I did forget to mention, we have 2 emergency hydraulically driven bilge pumps, one up in the bulb that actually also doubles as the anchor washdown and the chain washdown. And then there's one in the engine room. These are massive pumps. I mean, they've got hoses on them like about 3 inches around or something like that. So it's just massive. And then the ABT control panel for the stabilizers. We've got remote panels for the generators, one for the 17 and the one for the 21.5, so we can start them and operate them from up here as well. And these have, what do these things have on them? The 17 has 4,800 hours, and the bigger one has 4,656. With these engines on these boats, it's not a super big deal to have high times like that, because these things are designed to be run like that, high hours. We monitor it. We do oil samples so we can track if anything weird does start to happen. But these engines on these boats are amazing. They just run and run. And one of the things, we'll probably be dead before these engines fail. So that's kind of reassuring when you're out there off the coast somewhere and it's the middle of the night.
All right, this is our master stateroom. So we'll just give you a quick tour of this. But this is mid-boat, and it's the entire width of the boat. So that means it's a good 17.5 feet wide. I swear the very first house we ever lived in Boise, Idaho, 27 years ago, the bedroom was smaller than this. So this is a pretty big stateroom for a boat. We've got hanging lockers on both sides. Unfortunately, Pat still has a lot of hanging clothes because of the whole pilot thing and he needs uniforms. But over here is where we have washer and dryer. We have spent a lot of work fixing those, making sure those work and work well. But I love having those here in the stateroom because that's where all the clothing is. So it's just been perfect. Over here, there used to be a swing out desk chair. We did remove that just to give ourselves some more space. It's hiding under the bed if we ever decide to need it. This was a great nook for sewing and back in the old days of a computer, and you might sit at it. But now this is my printer corner. We've got printer, photocopier, which is really important for international boating, that kind of thing, to get documents and copies. And then my 3D printer. So if you've been following along, I print boat parts and design and create things to stop leaks and to hold things and whatnot. But this has a ton of storage. It's I keep talking about it, but it's a huge deal. Underneath the bed, in fact, a few weeks ago, we found an empty drawer. And I was so excited. It doesn't take much to get me super excited, but I was super excited. So this is just coming down the stairs you take a left, and this is the master. We just have 2 staterooms on this boat. You can get the 57 with 3 staterooms. One kind of has some bunks and a smaller guest room, which can be really nice. We like the 2 stateroom layout. It makes both the staterooms really big. And you have to give up some space in this room, of course, in order to make a 3rd stateroom. So right here on the right, we've got our bathroom. Let me show you that. And why he's in the shower, I'm not sure. Must feel nice and cool. But good size bathroom. Tricky part on boats that we don't always think about on land is where you're going to put the toilet paper. On these boats, it's right there. I do have a sign on the guest head to tell people where to find that. But enough space in here. It's like a hotel thing, but it's super handy to have on a boat. Just keeps things from falling around. Anyway, we just put in new toilets. We did discover that it's too tall. So fortunately, we're tall people. There's a pedestal there, and we didn't take that into account when we ordered one. Well, actually 2. So when short people come, they're just dangling off of there. Underneath this bed, of course, everything lifts up and off. Underneath, we have all the house batteries. We also have an air conditioning handler for this stateroom, but also the air that blows into the engine room, which is right on the other side of this wall. I love not having access to the engine room from here, which is where it was in our previous boat. It just really keeps the living space separate from the make the boat work kind of space. One of my very bizarrely favorite things about this room is this little cupboard right here. Pat did put a handle on it. It tilts open, and it's for laundry, which on a boat is really something that you have to think about. In a house, you throw it in you've got a hamper somewhere in a closet or bedroom or whatever, but all of our boats, we've just like shoved it in a cupboard. This one has a dedicated space that I'm pretty sure is for laundry. At least that's what it's for. So that's a handy little cupboard. Yeah, that's pretty much it in this stateroom. Let's go across to the other stateroom. All right, so here is our other head, also known as Gilligan's stateroom. Today he's in the shower. Often, however, he spends time in the sink, but plenty of room in this shower. Little Gilligan art on the wall. And this bathroom you can access right after you come down the stairs, and then we can open this door. So it's like an en-suite bathroom for our guest room. So the guest room is in the V-berth. It's kind of a smaller queen size. There is a door right here to access the bathroom. For now, it's closed off because it is also the cat's bathroom. But up here in the front is the anchor locker. So all the chain sits there. There's a little bit of storage. There is a window hatch up there Right now closed because of sun. It's just too hot. Lots of storage in here. Under the bed, over to the sides. Lots of storage for us for this room. This bed also lifts up, and underneath the bed is all the hardware and system for the sonar, and we'll show you that here in just a bit. All right, so we said we'd show you the sonar under the guest bed. So this lifts up.
And there it is. You can kind of see the tube down there. That's where the sonar retracts up into and also extends. That's all the mechanisms for it. There's a little control box on the side. Also up here, air conditioner, huge hydraulic bilge pump. It's also an anchor wash. And then lots of discharge lines and other stuff and all that.
All right, put that back down.
Did you get this walkway?
Heading up the starboard side, we've got the Portuguese Flybridge here. Nice and tall. And then the bow.
Okay, we're up here on the bow of Noetta. Big hydraulic powered winch or davit for the anchor. We've got a 70 kilogram Rocknet anchor. There is space for another anchor. We just don't have one. Hatch for the forward berth, the VIP berth. We've got a nice storage locker and dorades for some fresh air if you want. There is a space for bow shore power, but there's currently nothing in there. That'd be on our wish list. So come on over here. One of our favorite features of this boat is the after eight pilothouse windows. You can see on the old, or I guess the normal, or I don't know what you call it, the windshield would come out to here. So this is actually a lot of storage space underneath the helm as well. We've got the storm windows. We put those over the pilothouse, or I mean the Salon windows if we're expecting really big seas. There's more storage here. And one of my favorite features up here, this is on both sides. We have wing stations. So when you're docking, you can be here and you can see everything that's going on. We have them on both sides. And then there's a nice little walkway and a boarding door down here. But wait, there's more. On both sides of the boat, we have these boarding doors. And we didn't know what these would be for until we were on the East Coast. When you're on the East Coast, they typically have fixed docks. So the boat will move up and right down with a dock, but the dock is fixed. So at a really low tide, you would use this boarding door. We have them on both sides to get on and off the boat. It's pretty cool. We didn't have that on the 50. One of my favorite things about this boat is the Flybridge. You have an excellent view of what's going on around you. It's a very nice place to operate the boat from. Not as many controls, or I guess instruments and stuff, as we would have in the pilot house, but we have a Furuno. It's a 13-inch chart plotter. We can bring up map, sounder, radar, anything we'd want. Simrad autopilot. We have the follow-up lever that directly controls the rudder, bow and stern, and then the digital throttle, as well as a VHF radio and then the stabilizer. It's a remote control for these stabilizers, so you don't have full authority and basically just turn it on and off. Nice little settee, sit up here. It's very nice during like social hour, sunsetters. And then we can come back here and we have a really nice aft deck. I don't know what we call this, the dinghy deck.
Sure.
Those are little Achilles, just a little outboard Yamaha. Some point, in near-term plans, we're going to have a storage, like a dock box built So stay tuned for that little feature. Nice hydraulic davit. It's 240 volts, about 1,300 pounds. So it can easily handle this thing. Additional outboard, dock box. This is where we keep our life raft. Got a stern wheel, our Starlink. This is the exhaust stack. So the exhaust pipe actually comes up right here, and I've got a cutoff fender over it just because it rains quite a bit this time of year. So I like to keep the rain out of the exhaust pipe. This is the digital DRX front array. I can't remember. It's a 6-foot open array. We've got our airborne weather station, dual VHF antennas. That's our AIS antenna. It's got a cool little camera here. We like this one because it just gives a high kind of a bird's eye view after the boat. We think it's pretty cool. Then we also have one forward that you can see out bird's eye view forward of the boat.
The 57 is a full displacement hull, drawing around 6.5 feet. It has a large bronze 36-inch diameter 5-bladed propeller in front of a rudder that has a hole in it so we can remove the shaft without removing the rudder, and we've done that a few times already. This is the shaft for the wing engine with a 2-bladed folding Martech propeller, and in front of the shaft is the 10-inch hydraulically powered stern thruster, the same as the one in the bow. Here is one of the 250 series ABT stabilizers that are 44 inches by 30 inches. You can see a stainless steel line cutter here, which helps keep nets off of the stabilizer. The starboard side has a keel cooler. So this is the keel cooler, and I'm listening for coolant to come through here. We don't want the engine to overheat, so we don't want to do it for too long, but we're waiting for the coolant to get into the keel cooler. So a little warmer, not much.
Right at that heel.
So, yeah, this runs the distance here. How will you explain the purpose of a keel cooler?
This is the radiator. Like in your car, this is the radiator for the boat, for the main engine. So the coolant circulates through these tubes, and the salt water, the water moves over there, and it's a heat exchanger.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. It just gurgled.
Just a little more, not much.
The bulbous bow increases both speed and efficiency, and ours is a bit more unique than most, often creating smiles of people walking down the docks. It's such a big bulb. It looks so big. It's a bigger bulb than our old boat, and it just is a really big happy face. All right, guys, thanks for visiting our home today. Hope you enjoyed it.
If you have any questions or anything, any comments, feel free to post those. Like and subscribe.
Have a great day, guys. See you next week.